What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Canelo Alvarez. For those who don't know, Canelo Alvarez has made a statement in regards to Billy Joe Saunders. He says Billy Joe Saunders looks like it would be a good fight. He's looking into a fight with Billy Joe Saunders. He says the fight makes sense at 168. And that could be a fight that is in the near future. Those are the words of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, this is what I think about when I hear Canelo speak of Billy Joe Saunders. I think about the last performance Billy Joe Saunders had. It was not a good performance. It wasn't. In fact, it was one of those performances that made you question where Billy Joe was. Okay. He fought a guy by the name of Marcelo Esteban Coceres, which was a very good opponent. Okay. He was an Argentinian opponent. And look, one thing about Argentina, you really don't know what you're going to get from that country. Okay. You can get some sleeping live beasts in that country. There's some beasts down there. Okay. As Marco El Chino Maidana, Sergio Martinez, it was another guy, not Jesus Chavez, but he's from Mexico. But it was another guy by the name, he drawed with Bradley. But all these guys are very good opponents. You know, Matisse's from down there. They got some hard hitters. So he didn't look too well. But one thing you have to give credit for Billy Joe, it was his first fight in America. I think he was a little nerved, honestly, because he was pressured to put on a certain performance to set the stage, to audition for a potential fight with Canelo or Callum Smith. Okay, and Callum Smith didn't look good in his performance. In fact, a lot of people thought that he lost. Right? So a lot of things can happen. Anyone can have an off night. Okay? And speaking of Billy Joe Saunders, wasn't Billy Joe Saunders in a similar situation before he fought Lemieux? Think about it. When he fought Artur Akavov, it looked terrible. Okay? It was straight garbage. It was. It was not a performance worth looking at, and a lot of people were looking at him like, dude, I think he's not worth the shit. I think he's fell off. Someone like David Lemieux would destroy him. And what happened? He outclassed, outboxed, outgunned David Lemieux in his own backyard. Okay? So we're looking at, maybe, Billy Joe. Billy Joe was just being real about his performance. He said, hey, I don't think I deserve, based on this performance, I don't think I deserve those Callum Smiths or Danny Jacobs or Canelo fights. He was just being real with himself. So a lot of people are coming down on Billy Joe. This is not coming down on Billy Joe. If you're going to come down and counterpunch anybody, it has to be Canelo Alvarez. Why? Because the question you ask yourself is, what if he went in there, Billy Joe, went in there and took Coceres to school, made him look like he made David Lemieux look, right? What if that would have happened? The question you ask yourself would be, would Canelo have the same energy? That's the question you ask yourself. Would he have the same energy? Would he want to take on that fight with Billy Joe Saunders then? Let me ask you another question. Did Canelo want to fight Billy Joe Saunders after he beat David Lemieux the way he beat him? I mean, come on. This was 2017. Canelo was a middleweight, people. He had just fought Triple G at 160 when he was claiming that he wasn't a middleweight, but he was a middleweight. Right? You guys got to remember this. This is all facts. When he took David Lemieux to school. Nobody said shit. Canelo didn't say shit. Canelo didn't even acknowledge Billy Joe Saunders, but he had to know who the hell he was because David Lemieux is in like he is right now in the same stable as Canelo Alvarez. They're both with Golden Boy. Okay? In fact, David Lemieux was in line to fight Canelo if he would have got past Billy Joe Saunders. Come on, people. Look, these are all facts. Okay? You can look this shit up. The question is, why didn't he have that same energy when David Lemieux looked good? Why when someone looks shitty, you have to pull that card? Oh, it's a perfect fight. It looks good. Why? Why does it look good now? See, integrity is what I'm looking for. And a lot of people think, man, you bash Canelo. I don't bash Canelo. I just ask questions that a lot of people should be asking when you think Canelo is this big pound for pound star, but then you see him pick a fighter or mention a fighter at a certain point when the fighter doesn't look too good, when a fighter had a piss poor performance, when a fighter looked mediocre. Now it's time for me to fight him? No, if I'm the best pound for pound, I would say, you know what? Billy Joe Saunders didn't look good, and I don't want to fight this guy because he looked shitty his first fight. And if I go in and beat him after that shitty performance, it's going to make me look bad. If a person is really worried about himself being regarded as the best, unless that person is just, ate up with himself, smelling himself, okay? That would be the only way that person can be content with that. That's the thing you ask yourself. Because Billy Joe Saunders, sure, I'm pretty sure Billy Joe will take the fight, but here's the silver lining. Here's the karma and where that could take place at. Just like David Lemieux saw that, oh man, he didn't look good against Akavov. He didn't. He looked like shit. He looked like he was overtrained or undertrained. He didn't look like he was in shape. He fought flat, right? But a lot of people don't. Again, you haven't factored in Marcelos Esteban Coceres. Coceres is a person we never heard of, but guess what? He was an undefeated person we never heard of. Okay? Now, if Coceres comes in, and that was his first fight in America also, if he comes in his next 3 fights and knocks guys out that we know who the hell they are, then people will look at Billy Joe Saunders a little differently. But that's nor here nor there, okay? Because that hasn't happened yet. But what I can say, don't write Billy Joe Saunders off like a bad check because he had a shitty performance, okay? Regardless of what he thinks and he feels. Maybe Marcelo was a hard opponent, a difficult opponent, because he was game. Okay? Now, a lot of people get pissed on Eddie Hearn, but he picks good fights. He might pick them too damn good, honestly. You know what I mean? But that does not mean Billy Joe Saunders can't go in there if Canelo decides, hey, low-hanging fruit, undefeated super middleweight champion. He's right for the picking. Let's get him right now. If he goes in there and he thinks that, and Billy Joe Saunders plays possum with his ass and pulls off a performance like he did with David Lemieux, they're going to be in shit creek, up shit's creek. And it can happen because Billy Joe Saunders is the comeback kid. He's like Keanu Reeves in movies. He'll have a great movie, then he'll have a shitty movie. Then he'll have another good movie, then he'll have another shitty movie. Then he'll have a better movie after that. That's Billy Joe Saunders based on what we see. Okay? So, yes, the fight he did with Akavov sucked. The fight he did with Willie Monroe Jr. was very good. The fight he did with David Lemieux was very good. Charles Adamu was rather flat. Okay? And here's the thing. He's up and down. So if Canelo thinks, hey, I'm going to take this guy out and I'm going to dethrone him, I'm going to take his belt, fine. Because I think, honestly, that's the only reason, or the primary reason, let's say that. The primary reason why Canelo is picking Billy Joe Saunders now because he thinks he's either lost his edge, his flame, his focus, and he's ready to be beat because he didn't look impressive. That's what I honestly feel. And the arguments and the evidence behind that I've just mentioned. Okay. That's what I feel about that. You guys tell me what you think about Canelo Alvarez possibly taking on Billy Joe Saunders. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.